Hope Walz is my guest today, and when I booked her, I was excited about her TikTok journey. I didn't know that her dad was going to say he wasn't running for re-election just 2 hours before we record our podcast. I actually thought for sure she was going to cancel, but she is such a class act that she revealed to me that she actually, she'd known about this for a little while, and that she had purposefully let me book this in after the announcement because she didn't want me to be making a podcast that wasn't relevant as soon as it came out. So thank you for that, Hope. Unshackled by the need to protect her family, she came in and said, I can say whatever the hell I want now that my dad's not running anymore. And she did. I think you'll enjoy the conversation. Here we go. Hey guys, let me interrupt the episode for a quick second to give you bonus content, because every week when we make the podcast, we put a behind the scenes special in it, but most of you aren't able to see it because most of you aren't supporters. Supporters are the people who give every month to help make this thing happen, and you can be one of them by going to oneminutetetours.com. Supporters are the way that this thing happens, that this guy happens, Chris, our talented producer, and he's gonna be in the behind the scenes section. You wanted to say hi for a sec?
Hi.
He has a voice. We're going to be talking for a little bit after the podcast about how this thing came to be on a very noteworthy and newsworthy day. I hope you enjoy it. Today's episode only, we're going to make it available to everyone, and then for future episodes, only for our supporters. Thank you for watching. Consider becoming a supporter, and now let's get to Hope Walz.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. You want to hit the button and get us started?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. It's a cool setup.
So we're talking at an interesting time.
We are.
We've been talking about talking for a while.
Yes.
We booked it, and then your dad just announced he's not running again like hours ago.
Yes, hours ago.
I assume it wasn't as much of a surprise for you as it was for me.
Yeah, I wasn't even home for the holidays. It's a busy season at work, but we were kind of talking about it over the holidays, and just in the past little bit, that's the conclusion that my family came to. And then, you reached out with like actual dates, and I'm like, oh, that works out perfectly. I can't say anything to anybody.
Yeah.
But it gives me the opportunity to do this and be home for it, which is like really great.
Yeah, because you flew in to do this, so thank you for that.
I did, absolutely, yeah. So
we had to coordinate times and all that, and you're having to act with this knowledge, and you were so nice because you actually let me have this chat before the announcement, or after the announcement, instead of before, so I didn't look silly.
Yes.
But it leads me to a question I wasn't meaning to ask, but it's I think a really interesting one. Is like every politician who's ever announced that they're not going to do it anymore always says, after long talks with my family, and then you never actually hear from the family.
Yeah. And well, the family's here.
Here you are.
So, yes.
So like, what is that like as like someone who's in the family of an elected official?
Yeah.
I mean, is it something that's conversational? Is it they're telling you how it is? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I think it's like a little bit of all, like everything. We kind of had this same thing in August, I think, was when he first initially announced to run again.
It was reported before that he was really waffling about whether he was going to or not.
Yeah.
Ultimately decided to.
Yes, and I think like that's probably pretty accurate. And when he made the decision to, like, our mindset was, we're all in on this. We're going to do whatever we need to do. Like, say whatever, do the whole thing. We were in it. We've done it before. We're going to do it again.
Yeah.
And then I think just with things rapidly changing, in the past, month or so, I think my dad kind of started questioning it. And I think, I don't want to speak for him, but think when things started getting really intense for me, like on my social media, and then people even saying things like to Gus and stuff, I think that's when he was really like, okay, like I need to evaluate what's best for the state, and then I need to evaluate what's best for my family.
Yeah.
And then I think it was just kind of a natural, the past couple of weeks have been really intense, kind of a natural conclusion. Yeah.
So just for context for the audience, like you announced that you were stepping away for a little bit from social media because it got a little bit too intense. It didn't last long. So you came back.
Yes. I initially I talked to my dad about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think this is smart, and just like come back after Christmas, like 2 weeks. I think it was like actually 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I just like deleted all the apps from my phone.
Yeah.
I do that like twice daily now. I like download them and then I'll delete that. Like I don't, figuring it out. But I deleted them, and then I was working a lot, so I was kind of doing my own thing. And then it felt like after Christmas, it was maybe a good time to say something, but I like had comments off on everything.
Yep.
So it was a little bit more limited.
What was the context of like wanting to step away?
Yeah, I got like one specific, like pretty freaky email that I actually posted it on my Instagram story, and then was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I did do that. And it was just like very threatening, very vulgar. And then just a lot of comments, and like I know a lot of them were bots, but I think a lot of them were also real people. And like, I don't live in Minnesota. I don't have the security infrastructure that my dad does. And so when it got to a point where I felt like there was maybe a potential that I had to actually, you know, worry for my safety, I'm like, okay, this isn't worth it. I'm going to take a step back, and then I'll come back in a couple weeks.
Like, can you say any more about the comment? Like, what made it different than others?
He just said like a lot of very vulgar terms that are commonly used towards women, as well as just like deserving to die and like coming for you and just things like that. And so obviously, you know, I got the police involved, and that's like an ongoing thing.
Really?
But
God, being a woman sucks.
Sometimes.
That's the worst. I always say, because I sometimes get to talk in front of people about content creation, and I always say like I am so glad that I came into this. I turned 40 a few months ago, so I came into it after I'd had my 20s already, and also that I get to be a man on social media, because I've seen content creator friends of mine. I've seen their comments and like how much work they have to do on moderating different words. To make it so that they like people. I literally have women who I know in Minnesota who will put a filter word on their child because people will bring their children into like things with them.
People on the internet are very bold, and it gets very freaky very fast.
Yeah. So that's he's talking about the security infrastructure. Like, you're not a public figure. I appreciate you being here, but you're the daughter of a governor. But then when your dad gets nominated to be vice president, I imagine, is there security involved with that? Secret Service involved?
Yes, lots of Secret Service. That was, I think, the biggest change for all of us. And granted, you know, it was short. It was like, I think they started with my brother and I, at least, on like around the DNC. And then we had it until like the day after the election. But yeah, that was intense. Like, I was operating with the same amount of infrastructure that my dad currently has.
Really?
Like, just me personally, maybe even more. Like, I think there were more bodies with me than there are sometimes with him. That now he obviously, like, it way ramped up for him. But I'm, you know, I don't have anything when I'm just kind of on my own. I turned 18 when he first won. And so I was like, no, I'm going to do my own thing. But then that happened, and I had, you know, wherever I traveled, they traveled with me. I wasn't like going through security at airports. Like, it was what my dad has now that I was dealing with during the campaign.
I'm so curious. Say more. Like, these little bits of detail that start interesting to me. Like, you don't go through security in airports if you have Secret Service detail?
No.
How does it work? Like,
you go through like a side door or something. And like sometimes you'd walk up the back of the plane.
Really?
And I'm like, I'm flying to Montana. I think I can just like walk on the plane like anybody else. But
there's no stopping by the Cinnabon on the way over. You're not.
Well, right. That was something my dad and I talked about a lot. Like, we're Midwesterners. We love gas stations. Like Quick Trips. Yes. Car washes. I think I talked about this on a video. When we were traveling all over the country, we would rank car washes that we saw, like, you know, along the road, because we'd get off the plane and then drive to, you know, God knows where, everywhere. And so we started ranking car washes, but like, you weren't really allowed to like stop at them. Because you're with this, you know, big infrastructure. It was easier when I was by myself, but I spent most of the time with my dad. And you can't just stop the entire motorcade to go to Quick Trip, unfortunately. I did ask. I asked multiple times, and they're like, we have to make it a whole thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's not fair to everybody else. I get it.
Were there times when you made it a whole thing? Like dinner, or there was a friend in town or someone you don't see?
Like, a couple times we decided to do dinner. Like the first week when we were traveling with the vice president, doing kind of that first tour, I remember we went to like this Italian place in Phoenix because my cousin and his fiance at the time, now wife, lived there. And we wanted, you know, we hadn't seen him since everything happened. So we're like, all right, let's go to dinner. And they're like wanding people who are walking in the restaurant. And we're like, oh. Okay, so maybe we don't want to do this very often because this makes things miserable for everybody else.
So that's the context of like what your experience is with having security when your dad's on the national stage. And, now you got a threatening email and you're in Montana, and you don't have any security around you then.
I don't. I will say, like, the Minnesota State Patrol is like really awesome about that stuff, and they were coordinating with like the Bozeman Police and Montana State Patrol, and I was being told that they were doing more kind of rounds around my house just to like be a presence and whatnot. And so that was reassuring. And I think like at the end of the day, I'd rather not have security, even with like the risks that come with it. And so it's, you know, it's okay.
That's like you're in your 20s, right?
Yeah. I turn 25 next week. This week. Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's a bit scary.
Yeah, you're halfway through your 20s. Do you feel good about the halfway mark?
I think so. Yeah. I started therapy last year.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Last year now, because I was like, this has been a little bit of a crazy year. I should maybe like work some things out.
Yeah. How do you, like I said before, like I have a few more years on you, so I feel like I just have enough experience to not lose my mind. I had a moment when I was early in content creation, and people got really mad at me for something I'd posted, and my wife came in, and I was like lying on the couch, my face like in the cushion, just death scrolling through all these like mean comments. And she's like, she literally took my phone out of my hands.
You just can't look at the comments.
So like, how do you figure that out? Is that just because you grew up in it and you?
I think that's part of it. I always tell people, like, I've never been formally media trained, but like I'm definitely media trained just because like that's been like my whole life. Or at least since I was, 5 or 6 years old when he first decided to run for Congress. So it is sort of like kind of all I know. So I think like I'm pretty good at preventing things. I'm also pretty good at knowing what gets people's attention. So like, when I end up on Fox News, I typically know that might be something that might end up on Fox News. And so I'm typically like pretty prepared for it.
Got it.
And I've gotten to a place where I will say like the past couple weeks, that's changed a little bit just because of the sheer number of things coming in has been really hard to deal with. But most of the time when people from the right say anything to me, I'm like, honestly, if you're mad at me, I'm doing something right. So I don't particularly care.
Yeah, you kind of have a don't give a fuck attitude.
And like that is genuinely how I feel. It's when like the safety component comes into things that I feel like has caused me to do things a little bit differently.
Does your family like, they're saying, hey, maybe rein it in a little bit?
My mom hates when I swear.
Okay.
Like she hates
I'm sorry, Gwen.
it. No, I know. She hates it. So she'll like always, I'll post a video and she's like, great message, but you shouldn't have said the F word.
She's such a Minnesotan.
Yes, absolutely. And then my dad actually, he swears a lot. Like he does. Not as much as me. Like I definitely do it sometimes for like the dramatic effect.
Sure.
But he is not like he doesn't have the cleanest mouth. So she gets mad at him sometimes too. And he's typically like, yeah, that's how I feel. You're good.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. So.
But then, so going back to the being in the family when you're all talking about whether you should run again, are you a part of that conversation about whether your dad should run again, or is it more like you're being told and having to ask questions about it?
Yeah. Well, I was in Montana for like the entirety of like quote unquote Veep stakes, and I had like strep throat. So like that was me like. I just sat in bed all day, like scrolling. Like I don't really know what's going on, but here we are. And there was like, there was conversations throughout. My dad was initially like, we're submitting the things that they asked us to submit.
This is back when Kamala Harris is trying to decide if it's going to be your dad or Shapiro or the whole thing. Yeah.
Is that what you were asking or no?
No, I was asking about a different thing, but I'm curious about this too.
Oh,
so
okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So like there were conversations about that, and then it just like started progressively getting like, they're still asking us questions. They're still asking us to do this. They're still asking us to do that. And then like, the night or the day before, my parents are like, we still don't know what the heck is happening, but just fly home just in case, because we don't know. Either way, it's going to be a weird thing, just come home. And so I like got in, at midnight, and I like had to hide going into our house because there was reporters outside. And my uncle picked me up from the airport, and I like was in the seat like ducking down because we didn't know still. And then they were like, seeing you come home could potentially be like, oh, something's going on.
Or it was, at the time on Twitter, it had gone off that like, oh, there's a private plane booked from the St. Paul, from Home Field in St. Paul, which is a lesser known airport because they're trying to hide it.
That is where we flew out.
There is.
That is where we flew out of.
Looking at everything.
And I didn't even know that was really a place. Until they, picked us up. It's like an hour after we got the call that we're like on the plane to Philly. And then we're there, and I've never been on a private plane before, so I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. This is crazy.
Right?
And then couple weeks later, there's one with our name on it. And it's like, oh, this is very weird.
I never thought about that. It's your name on the plane too.
Yeah.
You share the last name with your dad. But so, like I imagine you have a social life in Montana. You got friends and all that. Like that's incredibly disruptive. Like, oh, see, I'm going to be in a national campaign. Was it like exciting? Was there like oh my God, like I just want to have a normal life? Or where are you at with that?
Yeah, I think it was kind of the same thing that we like came to this past August. It was like, if this is what is being asked of us, like we're going to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to do it to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And we're going to make the most of it. And so it was exciting because, it was a very it was something very few people ever go through or experience. So we're like, well, we might as well just, take it as it comes.
Yeah.
But then it was also like scary because we knew things like what's happening right now were going to happen.
Yeah. What do you mean? Say more.
Just like just the national profile and the right wing infrastructure and just like having a target on your back.
Yeah.
Because when you're the governor of Minnesota, that's obviously a very big position, but it's completely different being a vice presidential candidate and then going back to being governor of Minnesota. So just the social kind of, everyone knows who you are, like everybody.
Yeah.
Not just Minnesotans, but everybody.
So it's been different since coming back to the national campaign.
For sure.
Yeah. So the question I was initially asking was more wondering about the last few weeks as you guys are deciding about whether your dad's deciding when he's going to run. He's already announced that he's running. There's been a big fancy production on like the re-elect announcement thing where he's driving in a pickup truck across Minnesota. But then, he changes course on there.
Yeah.
Are you a part of that conversation, that decision-making process?
It was kind of the same as it was for when he was, going through Veep stakes a little bit, just like talking to us, like asking what we think. My parents always frame like running for office as a we thing, not like a me thing for my dad. So it's like we're doing it as a family. Ultimately, the choice came down to, what my dad decided. But we were definitely like a part of it and we were asked how we felt and like what we thought and that sort of thing.
Do you wish you would run again? Do you wish you was running for re-election?
I was going to support whatever decision he made. I think selfishly, it will be easier on all of us not having him run again.
Yeah.
But I also know there's a lot of Minnesotans that are feeling very scared right now.
Yeah.
And so I like want to be sensitive to that. And I get that because uncertainty is very scary. And like, I feel that as well, especially after, someone's been the governor in an elected office for 8 years. Like that change is scary.
Yeah. It's a weird time to be a Minnesotan right
It
now.
is. Because normally we're like flyover state. And now everyone's like Minnesota.
What is that?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, and I think my dad would say part of the decision he decided to step away from the race was to kind of get that target off of Minnesota. I think he believes if he's not in the race, there's nothing, they have nothing else. Because he has that, national profile. Trump just hates him for some reason. I think it's because he's everything Trump will never be. So there's that. And I think without him in the race or trying to, continue governing the state past next year, I think he thinks that kind of the target will be off.
Yep. That's the weird thing about politics, I guess. Is like it gets so assigned to someone's individual persona.
Right. And then they will say and do whatever they need to do and demonize communities to, do what they need or want.
I want to talk about that too, the current situation with the Somali Minnesota community here. But before we get to that, I want to say on the persona thing, because it's been weird for me too. I mean, I don't know your dad that well, but I've interviewed him a few times. But more than that, he was just a teacher across town when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And then he was running for Congress. And I still remember the chants when they did the parade. It was Tim Walz.
Yeah.
The independent leader for Southern Minnesota.
Then, who's gonna fight for me? WALZ. Oh yeah, I've been to far too many parades.
So like, it's weird. Like I've seen this guy kind of rise up through like the kind of power and everything, and then the higher up you get, the more you become just a totem for people's opinions. So,
like a caricature.
Yeah, and so I even saw like an AI video. My whole feed is AI videos now, I feel like.
I know.
And it was like him like surrounded by Somali Americans with a briefcases of money, dancing, and it's like, what are we
what are we doing?
It's not based on anything.
Yeah, no.
But it's like it's not about him, it's about he's the other side for a big group of Americans,
Yes.
I feel like.
Yes. And I think he was popular during the campaign last fall.
Yep.
And he's still in office and he
Yeah.
was running again. And so it's just kind of an easy thing for them to pick up on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's enough truth to the fraud claim, like things, that they were able to twist it and amplify it and
Yep.
whatnot, because it is being dealt with. They
Yep.
were just able to frame it in a way that benefited them.
It's gotten under people's skin in a real way, and you know,
Yeah.
for good reason.
Yes.
But I don't know that I think it maybe caught people by surprise who were just like politicking every day, because like just the level of anger that
Yeah.
at least I see in my feed. There's a runner in town here. He does like winter running. Did you see
yeah.
that video? And he's like a guy that like I've like his content. He does really cool
Yeah.
stuff. But he was really mad.
It's like, what are you afraid of? You know?
It's always so convincing when you see someone who you like share
Yeah.
an opinion that's contrary to you, and you're like, oh wait, maybe I don't think this. It's easier to dismiss something when it's someone you already don't like.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
totally.
And it seems to be the stuff about the fraud, it like is eking into mainstream discussion in a way that it had previously been more fringy.
Yes. Yep. And, you know, I think a lot of that was deliberate, but again, there is like truth to, you know, there is fraud that needs to be
Yeah.
dealt with. And so it's just like something they could latch onto and then twist in however they needed to. And like, there's so much content on social media right now, just like coming from all sides, saying all different things, just generally
Yeah.
everything that like really good, smart people don't know what's real and what's not.
Yep. I don't want to make you, I'm not here to ask you to address fraud stuff, 'cause that's your dad's job. But I
Thank
think
you.
you and I are both content creators, right? We're making
Yeah.
stuff on the internet. And so we consume it as well. And like
Yeah.
this video that went crazy, this Nick Shirley
Yeah.
video, it seems to just change the whole
Yeah.
everything on there. Have you seen it?
I have not like watched the whole thing. I've
Yeah.
seen clips of it and whatnot. I think they're like trying to make this man into Charlie Kirk or something.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, right-wing media ecosystems and people just
Yeah.
really like that sort of, you know, content in media.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's the whole like anti-vax thing and just, you know, they're not going to believe anybody except the least qualified people, it seems. And so like he fit the bill there, I think.
Okay. Let me throw down a challenge then. I think a little bit of what he does is what you and I do also.
Probably. Didn't he used to make like prank videos or something?
Yeah, but I'm talking more about the aesthetic of it. It's the aesthetic
And, like,
of the
talking.
person on their phone.
Totally.
Just doesn't have
And
any
like
person wearing a hoodie,
people
you know.
engage with that.
It feels more trustworthy than the news to a lot of people.
It does. And I can't quite like well, you know, I have my own problems with like the media and like all of that.
Sure.
And that's, you know, I said in a video this morning, like now I can kind of be let loose and like I definitely want to have some of those conversations going forward.
Yeah.
But I definitely think people see somebody and they're like, oh, this person's, you know, I see myself in them. And so I'm going to believe them. And that is what people definitely see in me. I think then that's like an ethical thing on his end. Like, you know, you can't just go and do this to people. I don't know.
Yeah, but
In
I mean,
communities.
But I watch it. I haven't watched the whole video like you. I've watched a lot of clips on there because he's posting a lot of them. But the style of it, I watch it. I'm like, oh no, like this is my style. This
Yeah.
is what I do.
Yeah.
And like here I am, like feeling like what I'm doing is a good thing, but then it can be used.
Yeah.
So easily.
Yeah,
To do
and there's
really
no like
terrible
checks
harm.
and balances on,
Yeah.
you know, content or not many
Yep.
and just social media in general. So
It makes me think like, oh, are we the baddies? Are we doing bad things by like
Yeah.
being a part of this ecosystem? Because the thing I treasure about like I have an independent voice. I can say what I want to
Totally.
whatever elected official, and like that creates like a level of trust.
Yeah.
I said the F word in front of you a second ago.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't happen on WCCO in town here.
Totally.
But then like the other side of that is like, oh, but he I think also has he's a lot more willing to say things that are just beyond the pale, but in a
Totally.
real like just asking questions kind of way.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think that's like the crossroads we're at in
Yeah.
politics and just in media in general. And like even something that the left has to figure out how to combat.
Yeah.
Because like the damage is done. And so what can we do to like fight back on that?
You said a second ago that now you feel like I can finally say the things you really want to say. What are the things you really want to say?
I definitely, something I've been pondering on kind of a lot is I definitely think like legacy and mainstream media, like there's an issue in that realm of things. I think a lot of people would agree with me. I think, you know, criticizing the media is a very delicate thing because they do really good work and it's essential to our democracy. But I think like we're sort of at a moment of reckoning with that, of like who owns it and what's being published and is it ethical, just all, you know, all of the things.
So let's go back and forth and let's criticize it. Let's talk about what are the things that we want to change. What are the things that are causing you frustration? I'll share mine as well.
Yeah, I get really frustrated on like this obsession with fairness. Like, oh, we have to play both sides. And I'm like, well, when one side is completely crazy and living in delusion and one side is like reasonable and living in fact, like you don't play both sides, you report the facts. And I feel like that wasn't really the case last fall and maybe is getting even worse now.
Yeah, I don't know that there's been the best response that I've seen so far to that Nick Shirley video was he did a video on Ukraine months ago, and there's a guy, I think it was a British guy living in Ukraine who had him on like a video chat thing, and he just like challenged him again and again. And he just crumbled under it. But I think that a lot of people in office are really reticent to go online and be as just free spoken as you are on your channel.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think a lot of that is like traditional political systems and, you know, consultants and just the whole kind of structure around political parties and where we're at right now. And I think that is a large kind of reason why, like, we are at a moment of transition, like in media and in content creation. And I think sometimes like politics and politicians are behind on that.
I find in my experience that like a lot of politicians, they want to get the benefit of the audiences that new media has, but they don't want to play the game of like just doing this, right? Or doing like subway takes or whatever the thing of the moment is. And so like I had all these conversations. Like, there are people in federal office who I've had 17 emails, and Chris as well, as my producer, he and I have gone back and forth 17 times, one of them between June and now, just trying to set up this.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we doing?
Have to be that deep.
And they're like, a lot of times they're doing the old media thing of saying, well, we don't really do an hour. Like, can we give you 5 minutes? I'm like, well, it's called 1 Hour Detours. Like, we can't really, but I have an audience. So like, if you want the audience, but they just want it to be very
on their terms,
prescriptive.
Totally.
And it's often not a view that's shared by the actual like elected officials. It's like the people trying to protect them by filtering it through the lens of like what they're used to in traditional media.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I think it's just very behind.
Yeah. So, I mean, you must be like causing all sorts of like ulcers at the TFL for like just like saying whatever you think, whatever you want. Like, I imagine you're not running your videos by anyone when you post them.
Some of them I will like send to my dad sometimes.
Sure.
And he's like a lot more kind of on the side of like, just do it.
Yeah, really?
Sort of. Oh, yeah. I think especially now. But I think like now that I've kind of done it, at first I definitely wasn't. I was just like letting it fly.
Yeah.
And then as I like grew an audience and was like, oh, like I have power here. Like maybe I have to be somewhat careful or like think through just even for my own brand and safety.
Yeah.
But I have found that a lot of people, because I just kind of came out swinging and did what I did, were like, we really appreciate you for that. I think maybe it's still hard to like actually do themselves going forward, but I think they're like, oh, like this resonates with people and like there's power in this, and like you can be the person that does that.
Because you're just a person saying what you think, and you're not, I mean, you're not running it by a million people, and you can feel it. You can really, really feel it when something's been checked by, it's like there's like a soul of a video that just dies when you talk about it too much. Yeah. Right?
And I think, like, I even said this in a video, like, I was posting about like the right-wing infrastructure, like coming at you is really hard. And like in the name of authenticity, like that is something that's really important to my what I do. And I
Yep.
think that you see that in my dad too. And that's why people resonate with him. Like
Yep.
he speaks to you on like a level you can understand and not like he's some like Harvard professor
Yeah.
or something.
Yep.
And I think that's important as well.
That was my theory for a long time. My theory, because he's pretty good at it. He's pretty good at TikTok videos. Like,
Yeah.
he has the ones with his car and all that.
Yeah.
He's like, he has this level. Like a lot of politicians freeze up and like, as soon as the camera comes out. My theory was that it was because of you, because you were teaching him. And we'd seen that the whole way. Is that accurate at all?
Yeah, I mean, we like talk about things and brainstorm things, and I
Yeah.
send him videos, and he sends me videos,
Yeah.
and I'm sure we've sent your videos back and forth, and like the whole thing. I know it's always funny when like one of those creators like will follow me back or something, or will follow me, and I'm like, oh, I see you from my For You page, and maybe they'll message me, and I'm like, my dad loves your videos, and they're like, oh my gosh.
So you mean it? You're not just doing a
Yeah,
doing a
no,
line.
like there's multiple. He's with it on the TikTok.
That's really funny. He doesn't look the part of someone who's with it on the TikTok.
No, but he's always been like pretty technologically with it. Like he had one of when like Apple came out with like the computers, he like had one of those.
Oh, yep.
And he was always, he had an iPhone very early on, and like, he's always been into that kind of, and so it just feels sort of natural maybe that he knows what's going on in the land of the internet.
I've made the argument about him a lot that I think he's like a classic dyed-in-the-wool Minnesota Democrat in the fact that he's like, he's outdoorsy. He's he's not from Mankato, but he lived in Mankato when I was growing up there. And like he has these kind of very moderated positions, and then that caricature thing has gotten moved over. Like he's this extremist, but he's just like, he is the classic Minnesota Democrat.
It's funny when like people meet him, sometimes they'll be surprised and they're like, you are exactly what like I kind of thought you were. And those are coming from the good faith people. And then sometimes you can tell when someone's like, I don't really like this guy, but I know he's important, so I'm gonna like go ask for a picture or something. And they're like always like so shocked that he's normal. Like, oh, I didn't realize that you were actually normal and not this weirdo freak that they make you out to be on the internet.
You started posting content after the election.
I did,
last
yeah,
year,
like a couple days after.
So were you told not to post it during the election?
We came to a mutual conclusion that I was not going to post on social media and just figured it'd be better for everybody.
Who's the we in that sentence?
The campaign and me. And like by campaign, I just mean forces probably way bigger and more important than me.
But
and
I mean,
so
very specifically, like, are you talking to the campaign manager? Are you 7 rungs down?
No, I don't
Is it
even
like,
know like the structure of all of that on like that big of a campaign. It was all very confusing, and we were, it was short. And so they're like, this person does this and this person does this. And we're like, okay, great. Like,
But when you say we came to an understanding, is there a meeting that happens? Is there a phone call? They're like, we want to talk about your content that you post online.
I think like I went through like familiar faces a lot of the time. So like the people that we brought over onto the campaign, which wasn't very many people. But the people we did, I would just kind of like ask them, and they, would do what they need to do and like
So there's someone
advise.
from the governor's office who's put on the national campaign, and you're like, were you deciding whether to post? Did you post something and get a wrist slap for it?
No, so before I like kind of went through all my social media and just like deleted most things, and I deleted some like accounts and stuff. Like I don't even think I have a LinkedIn anymore. Just like things like that. I'm like, I'm just gonna kind of clean it all up and then kind of start fresh. And so I was private on like all of these things to start. And then when we did get picked, I was like, okay, I'm gonna hold off. And then I was kind of like, okay, so can I like be public and like do this, or like what do we think? And they're like, it's easier for like us if you don't. And I'm like, okay, it's probably easier for me as well if I don't. And then I was like, but on election day, I'm going public. And they're like, okay.
Sure.
And so that's kind of what I did.
This is a weirdly logistic question, but like I really value my follower or my friends on Facebook. Like I've been curating that since Facebook came to Minnesota in 2006. I'd be devastated to lose like my messenger contacts, so I can't like reach out to a friend from 20 years ago and be like, hey, like, is that something that you have to just say goodbye to when you're a public person?
I had deleted Facebook. Like I had Facebook when, you turn like, when you're first allowed to be on Facebook. So I didn't even have a Facebook actually at that time.
Because you're Gen Z.
I'm definitely. And
I'm a millennial.
And so it was like I had, my Instagram and stuff, which feel like all of that is less personal.
Sure.
Kind of.
So it wasn't like a loss for you.
No, not really.
Got it. Okay. What's it like going through like national campaign? You said you were traveling with the campaign.
Yeah.
Is that a decision that you made to do? Could you have just stayed home? Or
Yeah, I think so. Like I got it. You know, I flew in like the morning or the like night before.
Yeah.
And then the morning, you know, we get the call. The vice president asks if my dad wants to join the ticket.
Yeah.
You know, and then everything kind of goes into motion. So then some important staff member, I couldn't even tell you their position because there was many, shows up and like they have kind of that first meeting, like, okay, we're going to Philly, like then you're going here and here, and then we'll be back in 5 days. This is who you can bring, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And one of my dad's like kind of only request was like, I want Hope to come with me this first week and beyond. Like I want her to be with me.
So did you have to like quit your job or?
And I work, it's very flexible at the shelter I work at. They were awesome. I like told them the night before, I'm like, I can't tell any of you why I have to leave right now, but I have to leave right now. And then like the next day I'm like, you will like, do you understand? And they're all like, oh yes, we understand.
That's the most like movie. This is a movie, right?
Yeah,
Someone should write a movie about this.
Totally. And so, you know, that they were very flexible with me, and that was great. And my dad had kind of mentioned when things first, you know, you first got asked, he's like, so you're going to do this with me? I'm like, well, if that's what you want, absolutely. And so then it kind of just happened.
Yeah. So there is a movie about it. I just realized actually it's a Katie Holmes movie. You know what I'm talking about? About the daughter of the president.
Oh, it's like My Date with the President's Daughter or something?
That's what I think. There's a few of them.
Okay, probably.
But there's none about. I think that's interesting about your thing is just because of the way that your dad got the VP nomination happened so quickly that your life went from 0 to 60.
Yeah, because
like,
in the
so
grand
quickly.
scheme of things, I would like to say I'm one of like the more normal politicians' children.
Okay.
Or like we're one of the more normal families. Like I never lived in DC.
Sure.
We never moved to DC.
Yeah.
I grew up in, you know, like the same house that I, you know, was born in, like that. I went to the public school my parents taught at. Like it was all pretty kind of typical, like
way more normal than Malia Obama. She's just like the worst, right?
They're awesome. But like I wasn't like in that necessarily.
Sure, yeah.
And so all of a sudden when I like am and there's all this infrastructure around me, it was like jarring.
Yeah. What other weird things are there about that? Like, I mean, are there other things that like caught you by surprise of, oh, I have to give someone my phone or tell someone I have to go to the bathroom or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, Secret Service is like with you everywhere. Like I met my boyfriend in a bar in Bozeman. And Secret Service came on my first date.
Really?
They were there the night I met him, but they also came on our first date.
Oh, can I ask you more about this?
Yeah, yes.
I was thinking about what I wanted to ask you about this because he's been on your feed before.
Yeah.
And so I've seen him.
Yeah.
But I'm a 40-year-old dude. I'm like, I don't want to ask this young woman about her boyfriend.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you brought it up because how the hell do you like date when you're like a national figure?
Yeah. Well, I was in Bozeman for like a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just need to get away and be kind of normal.
What week is this? Where are we in the timeline?
This is like September.
Of the election year?
Yeah, of last year. Yeah. And I'm like in this bar. It's the Crystal Bar in Bozeman. It's like very kind of Western divey.
Cool.
And he like walks up to me and I'm wearing all of those bracelets, you know, that were in last year, that like the beaded ones, the Taylor Swift things,
ones.
but like they made it
a
thing. I am.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They like made it into a thing on the campaign. So like people had been handing me them. So I was wearing them and he like comes up and asks me about them. And I'm like, he's wearing cowboy boots. And I'm like, oh. So I say, are you Democrat or are you Republican?
That's
and
your opening line.
Yeah, that's my opening line, which is pretty fitting for me, I think. But he just laughs at me and I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like I have to know. And then he wasn't like appalled by it, I guess.
Yeah,
he didn't answer my question. We now know the answer. But and then like we went on a date a couple days later and like we're on a picnic blanket, like eating grocery store sushi, and my Secret Service agent's like 15 feet away.
That's so weird.
I'm like, oh, okay. And like the first night, you know, like I stay at his house. They're like outside. I'm like, you should tell your roommates there's going to be SUVs outside the house for the next 12 hours.
That's
like,
wild.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm like, good on him for sticking around because that's crazy.
So has he met your dad?
Not at this point. He met my dad like 3 days after the election.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I need to get my car back to Bozeman. Can you help me drive it? And so we
Okay.
flew in. And
That's
so
a hell of a meeting the dads.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing, like, I did tell him, I'm like, before our first date, I'm like, I completely understand if you like don't want to see me, because there will be, like, you can't drive me there.
Yeah.
Like they drive us and things like that. And like, I need your full name and phone number. So like that sort of thing.
They had to run a background check on him?
I don't know, but like, they asked for his information. So I'm
Whoa.
like, okay. And so like, but he's like, no, it's fine. And then it turned out great and he's awesome. So.
How does this guy, like, how does this work?
No, I know. He's just like so normal. And I think it's just like, we're just rolling with it.
Is he from Montana?
He's from Arizona, Flagstaff.
Okay. It's a weird vibe out in Montana. Like, I like it, but I was out there. We're actually the next episode of our TV show, Hidden Middle, is about how Minnesota made the West, because a lot of the towns that went through Montana, they were put there by James J. Hill, who was
really?
Very
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like Kalispell is put there because he decides to put a train station there. He makes a deal with a prominent businessman there, and they move it up to Whitefish.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we flew out there. We went to a bar, one of these like Western bars out there. Went to a rodeo, and it's all these transplants, but everyone's dressed the part. So it's like, I didn't meet many Montanans, but everyone looked like a Montanan.
Yes,
that was out there.
I think that actually like sort of makes sense to me, because I think culturally they feel fairly similar.
Yeah. Okay.
Just like good people that like help their neighbors.
Yeah.
If I were to have a flat tire, like somebody would come help, like that sort of thing. But there's mountains there, and so people move there.
I know. Speaking of people from southern Minnesota, it's like so dramatic when you see mountains, isn't it?
Yes, totally. Like I still am not like used to it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I like live here. What the heck?
Yeah.
But yeah, they have, like that libertarian streak politically. But it is like a vastly kind of growing, changing state. And like the governor's from California, yet everybody says they hate Californians. So like, there's some weird politics going on there too.
Yeah, I mean, even just culturally, what's happening with like Yellowstone and all that, like all these eyes are on it. It's like they aspirationally want to be ranchers.
Yes.
But there aren't that many actual ranchers out there anymore. Right?
No, like there are, but like you can tell which ones are real and which ones are just like playing the part. There's like this account called Hipsters of Bozeman. I actually sometimes think they're like sort of mean, but like they'll take pictures of people like on the street and post it. And it's just like people wearing like ski boots in bars. Just like you can tell they're like not from here. They're like tourists or something. And so there's like that kind of that weird friction.
It's also like even the history, like the dude ranches that are out there.
Yeah.
I went out there. I shouldn't say her name. I was at a dude ranch, and there was a wildly famous pop singer with her mom at this dude ranch, and we were out there filming a video piece.
Yeah.
And she's someone who like I saw on Total Request Live growing up on MTV. But she was out there on this like trip amongst like these what are the people who race horses? The guys who ride on the horses called? What's that job? Help me out. No? The guys, jockeys. Jockeys, yeah. So like 4 jockeys from Australia who were there as well.
Totally.
And there's a total hodgepodge of people who were out to experience what they'd seen on Yellowstone.
Yeah, that's like, it is very much a thing.
Yeah. But then even the history of the place is like, it used to be a place that Ivy League people from the East Coast would go out to like touch some grass and feel like they were a part of it. That's why Dude Ranches started.
Yeah.
So do you want to live there forever? I
don't think so. I ski instruct in the winter, and like I love that. And ideally, like I do the winters there and like the summers here.
Sure.
So like I'm, maybe sort of starting to figure out how I can maybe make that happen.
Yeah.
But I don't think like full time. I love it, but I think I was there for college, and so I'm like, maybe it's, time to do something different. But I was initially going to come back, I think, and work on the campaign next summer. Yeah. And obviously I'm now not going to do that. So I'm sort of in like, I'm giving myself like a week or two to be in limbo. Yeah. And then I'll start to figure it out.
Is it beyond a realm of possibility that he'd run for something again in the future?
I hope not.
Yeah, really?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I think he's excited to like do something different.
Yeah.
He always says like, don't say no to a job you haven't been offered. Huh. That's like a line my dad has used for a long time.
Yeah.
So like, I don't, want to speak for him and say he'd never, but I think he's excited to do something different. And I'm trying to get him to like get a place in Bozeman. I'm like, you can
yeah.
get a place here, a place in Bozeman,
Yeah.
and then I can go back and forth, and that's perfect.
I get that. I'm married to someone who's not from here.
Okay.
And so the dream for me is always, because we have family, your heart's always divided
Yeah.
when you move away from the place you're from. So my dream is like to be able to just come back and forth on the
Totally.
regular, you know?
Yeah.
What's the point of all the content that you put on? Like, is it just for you? Is it like, is it
Yeah.
exciting to you to move the needle? Like, why do you
Yeah.
talk about politics online?
I think initially when I like first started posting, it was right after the election. I was feeling a lot of things. I think I saw that a lot of people were feeling a lot of things.
Yep.
A lot of people were worried about like us personally.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, that should maybe be the least of everybody's worries. So like, I'm going to post a couple videos that like shows that my family's okay and that we're feeling hopeful and that they can feel hopeful too.
Yep.
And I had like 700 followers at the time
Yep.
on TikTok because I had posted videos of me rock climbing like a couple years
Sure.
ago. That was my thing on TikTok. I had like 700 followers.
Yeah, okay.
And then it like, I remember the first video like didn't get very many views. And then all of a sudden it just like skyrocketed.
That one hits, right?
Yep. And so then I started, like I posted another one like the next day. And then
Yeah.
I posted like another one the next day. And
Yeah.
it was sort of, it was very raw. It was what I was feeling. I think I like told the internet that I hadn't brushed my teeth in 3 days, which is like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, Hope. But like, that's where I was. And the feedback I was getting was like, we feel better because we know you guys are feeling okay. And like seeing you be hopeful gives me hope. And like, that was kind of the general
Totally.
consensus. And so I said, oh, so there might be something here.
Yeah.
People resonated like with my family on the campaign, like trail with
Yep.
Gus,
Yep.
with kind of his moment at the DNC,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then me and my dad traveling, and just my mom, and just everything. And so I just kind of kept posting.
Yeah.
And people kept responding, and I've kept, growing in followers, and I feel like influence. And so I'm like, what do I want to do now? I'm very much kind of figuring that out.
I mean, I want to come back to this, but you just mentioned the DNC, and so we have to talk about that because that's crazy. That DNC moment that happened is so
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, I feel like I don't know a lot about politics, but I feel like those speeches must be tested and reviewed to death over there.
Yeah.
And so, like one of the big moments that I feel like they were planning for in the speech
Yeah.
was your name. You talked about he had a daughter. We called her Hope.
Yeah.
And it's like your name was on the
Yeah.
masthead of
Yeah.
most newspapers in America.
Yeah.
After that, and so I feel like that was a planned thing. And your brother just came in and had this like incredibly emotive reaction
Totally.
after. And so it's like the two of you suddenly are like thrust
Yes.
into the spotlight. You already had been a little bit, but that moment
Yeah,
is like,
totally.
I feel like you became part of the mainstream conversation.
Yeah, and that is kind of how it felt. Like we knew that this was going to be, the biggest moment of my dad's career up
Yeah.
to that point. He was doing his prep and all of that. And
Yeah.
I was telling my mom I had tattoos literally an hour before. I had my dad tell her actually, and then I walked in with my dress because my dress was sleeveless, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, well, okay, here we are. And so that, it was like as normal as it can be for all of us.
Yeah.
Like that is very much a me thing to do, just
Yeah.
like blow everything up an hour before. And then, we're down there and we don't really, it's all kind of a blur. We don't really know what's coming. And then
Right.
Gus, I did not see that coming from
Yeah.
him. But it was amazing kind
Mm-hmm.
of to see, and very touching for me and my mom. And at one
Yeah.
point I'm like, Gus, you got to stop crying.
I was going to ask that. Like,
Yeah.
there must have been a moment there where you're like, come on, man, you got to rein it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And my mom too. And like my aunts and uncles were next to us. But like at the end of the day, I think it ended up working out how it should have. And it was fun. That was a fun night. That was one of the highlights, I think.
I think I liked about it, and I think I like stuck out to me, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
people's minds about it was it felt unplanned, and that's the thing that's
Yes.
so lacking, I think, in politics, where everything's planned out to
Yeah.
death, and there's this real moment, and I think everyone held their breath for a moment as we waited to see if the country was going to make fun of this guy.
Yeah.
And then they didn't. It was like
Yeah.
this like moment where people seemed to embrace it.
Yeah. I think people saw themselves in it, and they saw
Mm-hmm.
like a real kind of healthy family.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I was on another track. What was it? I was on a track about asking about this. You said the DNC. What was I asking about?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
It was a really good track too.
Social media, I was talking.
Oh yeah, you're making content. Why did you start doing it?
Yeah.
You felt like the thing after the
Yeah.
loss. I think you were probably representing what a lot of people were feeling with this like despair, because
Yes.
2016 for
Totally.
people didn't want Donald Trump to win the presidency felt like, oh, it's a fluke. But then this one was like, oh, no, it's not. This is what the country wants. And we are out of step. Like,
totally.
That's how I felt. I'm projecting
it was
right
kind
now.
of like a wake-up call, I think.
Yeah, we're not in the country that we think we're in.
Yes.
Like, we're in the minority.
This is who we are. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, you speaking to that and somehow having a positive message resonates with people. You can't possibly be hopeful about that every single day, given what's going on in the country, though.
I think I'm well aware, and like I understand the reality and like the danger that is currently there. But I also think that I do like hold out that resounding hope. And I think, or at least I hope that's what comes across in my videos. That like, things are, really bad right now, but like the pendulum will swing and like it will get better. And it's hard to feel that way every day. Sometimes I have to remind myself of it. But it's always there, even when it's deep.
To me, the thing that the corrupting influence, the thing I'm losing sleep over right now is it seems like we're forgetting who we are as a people.
Yes.
Like we are a nation of immigrants. We're a nation of like,
just the blatant racism I see on like my timeline, just like real people just commenting super racist things. I'm like, who are we? And I think that is something that we all kind of have to come to terms with, but I still believe that there's more good people than bad.
I mean, the fraud thing is become like this excuse. That's why I think it's so effective. It's an excuse for people to reject an entire community of people that
who
we've
are
accepted
really
for a long
wonderful
time.
and like make this state great.
Because I mean, the thing we always have to say in this is, there's fraud, but then it feels stupid to even say that because when you look at it online, it's people saying there are trillions of dollars. There aren't trillions of dollars. Like they're
just pulling numbers out of their butt.
Yeah. And so instead, what we have happening is people are just saying those people are garbage and they have to go. And it's like, there's a dark path that this leads us down if we keep going down it. And like,
for sure.
I lose sleep over thinking like, what's pulling us out of it? And like, I gotta be honest, like talking to you today, just after your dad makes the announcement, I'm like, well, the people who are fighting, they're like backing away from it. I don't know if it's a good thing for the country or not. Yeah.
And I think that is something that he, had to work through and think through. And I think good people in politics have to think about every single day. But I do think like someone will step up into that role. Yeah,
to me, it's like it seems like it's being like Amy Senator Klobuchar's being like positioned to kind of be the standard bearer after this, and it's like, but that's just another institutional like. You see all this momentum both on the right and the left, Trump and Mamdani and all that, with people who are embracing this generation of I'm going to say what I think and not have everything be protected.
Minnesota always kind of goes for like the middle.
The safe.
Like in everything.
I mean, I have two words for you, which is Jesse Ventura.
Well, that's true. That man is, he's a character. I have a shirt that I bought on eBay like years ago from when he was governor that says, my governor can kick your governor's ass.
Everywhere when that happens.
It's awesome. I wear it to bed. I'm like, I don't think I can wear this in public. Maybe now I can, but.
I mean, it's a statement for the governor's daughter to wear that,
it is.
I think. But
totally.
I think he was effective because he had that off the cuff. I think like for better or worse, Minnesota doesn't get enough credit for like paving the way for Trump and this like say whatever sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I look at the people who could run right now and it's like all these institutional candidates. I'm like, is that good?
I mean, that's going to be a question for the voters, that'll be a primary. Or there will be a primary and like they'll do the caucusing and that as well, like just on the DFL side. So I think it's going to be hard to tell, but I can tell you like, I think my dad's excited because he's like, I'm going to do what I want to do and do what I need to do for this next year. And like, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I'm letting loose, like Lisa Dameth or whatever. You're done. You're done.
All right, let's let loose.
You will never be governor, Lisa,
what
ever.
What do we think of Lisa Dameth? Say more. Why don't we like her?
I think she's a fraud.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't care about the fraud. She cares about winning an election because she wants to be governor, which is like, I made a video on this last year. It's very problematic when people want to be in positions of power.
Yeah.
Like when people want to be president, I'm like there's something seriously wrong with you.
Yeah.
If you want to be governor, like you actually want to be governor to say you're governor, there's something wrong with you. Like you do you have these positions because you think you can do the most good by being in them, not because you just want to say you're the governor. And she so clearly just wants to be the governor. So
you're old enough to run for office. Would you do it?
I've gotten asked this a lot, and again, it's to never say no to a job you haven't like been asked to do.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's the route I want to go, but like if my life leads me there, then potentially.
I mean, you can't be president because you have to wait till you're 36, I think, to be president.
Is it 36 or 35?
Yeah, but I think the Senate is your oyster. You could try.
I'm not old enough for the Senate.
Oh, is there a limit on that too?
I think there is.
Oh, okay. Governor?
I don't know if there is for governor.
Talk about Nepo baby.
that would be what takes me down. But I think like potentially if that's what I decide, but I also have seen like the good that I can do with the platforms I have. And you said this earlier, like I like being able to say what I want when I want. Yep. And I think there's power in that, and like people resonate with that more so than just like, I have this theory of the case, I think, which is that like you can't be a good politician for more than a decade, maybe. Yeah, that's fair.
Because the more successful you get, the more like protected you get with people around.
That's a fair like assessment, I think. And I think there's questions about age limits and all of that, and I won't get into all of it, but like I think those are conversations worth having.
Well, I mean, I'm going to drag it down to a serious topic for a minute, but I mean, the thing that really makes me despair as well for our ability to get stuff done is that the Annunciation shooting that happens here, where people lost their lives. And I mean, your dad tried to get a special session, couldn't get one. We'll see if anything happens this year. It's going to be hard if he's not running again because there's a lack of political capital over there. But it's just like only a few months have passed, and it seems like the whole conversation has moved on from guns, because we just, as Americans, don't want to confront the horror of it.
And that's like such a hard one to wrap my mind around, because I'm like, the solution to me is so easy.
Which is?
Like, I think assault weapons should be banned, and there needs to just be like more regulations on buying these things. And like, that feels common sense to me. Like, I don't hunt, but like my dad's a hunter. Like, it doesn't affect people who are using guns for things like that. Like those measures. And so I just can't wrap my head around the fact that people are just okay with kids getting shot in schools. Again, Lisa Dameth. So like, that is a hard one for me to like wrap my head around, and that is one where I oftentimes find myself feeling a little bit hopeless. Because I don't know what it's going to take for us to like get to a point where we actually do something. My hope is that after this insanity that is like Donald Trump, like the Democrat who wins in 28 is gonna just like lay it out there the same way Trump is with his insanity, but like for reasonable good things.
There's so I have a friend of mine who was in the church at Annunciation, and so he was there with his kids. It's horrible story. It's been covered a little bit in the media, but something he told me about was his experience of being under fire and a magazine emptying, and then there was a pause, and he was able to help people, and had to duck for the next magazine. He paused, and then he went to the next person to help, and then the magazine emptied again. And he's like, if there were just fewer bullets per magazine, it would have been injured. And I thought about that. It was really a compelling argument. And then Bondi Beach happened in Sydney. And the footage of that guy, he has a bolt action rifle, and it's way slower. And it's a terrible tragedy.
But
that
it's way
there,
slower.
But it would have been
totally. There are ways to like make it better. We just need like people to grow a spine. Republicans in the House and Senate, the Minnesota House and Senate.
But they can't. I mean, they can't. It's baked into their ideology, who they are as people, not ideology. It's I do this. Did you see the movie Weapons?
I haven't.
I just watched it recently. It just came out this year. It's crazy good. It's kind of like Get Out. Get Out did for like racial intolerance. What Weapons does for school shootings.
Is it on a streaming service?
It's HBO. It's about school shootings without ever saying it. It's the premise of it is that 17 kids disappear suddenly at 2:17 a.m. They stand up from their beds and they just run away. And no one knows what happened. And everyone's trying to figure out from the teacher, what did she do? And Josh Brolin has a speech at a town hall meeting where he stands up. He's like, this just doesn't make any sense. Where are our children? And it's like, it's so powerful, because I think as soon as you say the word school shootings, people get their guard up and they get into their defensive posturing. But this movie introduces a horror trope.
Interesting.
So like address it in a way that I hadn't seen it talked about.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone should just see this movie and like try to see that makes the conversation happen.
Yeah.
All right, what else are we going to talk about? Jeez, I feel like we got through a lot. How's Mankato? Let's talk about Mankato.
I was there this summer and I bought a truck from the guy who bought my family's house.
Okay.
I brought my boyfriend back because my parents obviously live up here in the Twin Cities. And I was like, you should just like see where I came from.
Yeah.
So we drove down there and we did, do you know Tandem Bagels?
Of course, yeah.
We love Tandem.
Is that your hang?
I love, my, the daughters of the two owners were in my grade and were my good friends.
Cool.
So, so we like did Tandem Bagels and then we drove around the neighborhood and I saw, Sherry Blazing, who's my high school principal and also my neighbor.
Cool.
And so we were talking to her and then like the guy drove by and he's like, Hope, I have a package that your brother had sent to the house. Come pick it up. And so I'm like, I don't know how you recognize me, but like we drove down the street into like to our old house. And he's like, come in and see it. And we saw it and then got the package. Then I'm walking out and he's like, oh yeah, and I'm selling my Tacoma. I just got a new truck today. And I'm like, I've been wanting a Tacoma for years. Wow. And he goes, I'll sell it to you for this much. And I said, let me call my dad and I will text you. And then I was like, mine 2 days later.
Yep.
So now I have a truck from Mankato.
Wow.
Which is great.
You're embracing the Montana lifestyle with your truck now as well.
I am. I still have my Subaru that I got winter tires off Facebook Marketplace for. But I love my truck. It's fun. And it's, it's a little rusty because it's Minnesota and there's rust everywhere. But it's great. And I really haven't spent much time in Mankato, but like that was a fun
It's
thing.
a nice little town. I think we kind of made fun of it growing up when I was in high school. Like the fill-in station was my spot.
Yes. Been there too.
And that was great. But then it just feels like a small town. And I got out and now it's gotten kind of cool and bougie. There's like good restaurants over there and stuff.
And that was like always the thing. There was never good food there. I feel like since we left now almost 8 years ago, it's better.
Are you going to keep posting for the foreseeable future? Are you going to back away for a little bit now that you're like less in the spotlight?
I think I will. I think I'm feeling kind of energized. I think my dad would say the same thing. And like, I'm ready to kind of make a difference. And obviously it's not all that different for me, but it will be different because our family will be in a different position, but I think it's an opportunity and I'm excited. And like, I hope people stick with me, and my family. And
are you making money off of it?
So like a little,
like from the TikTok or like brand deals?
But I'm like, I have slowly come to realize that I think I want it to like be something I actually do. Yeah. So I'm starting to figure that out.
We should talk more. I can give you all sorts of thoughts.
Yeah, seriously, for real. So yeah, like I'm kind of working through that, and I think my dad will figure it out, and it'll be good. And we're gonna fight for Minnesota in all the ways that we can.
Look how media trained you are. You just ended that sentence at the beep. That was incredible.
That was good.
Thank you so much, Hope Walz, for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Good luck. Hopefully your next year is less eventful than the last one. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet.
That was great.
You guys, I have really good news.
What's that?
The age to run for governor.
What is it?
25.
I'm launching my
Do it. See what the announcement's hot. Let's do it.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's fantastic. You looked it up in the meantime. Hey guys, welcome to the after show. This is the behind the scenes section where we're going to talk a little bit about how this came to be. Where should we start?
Are you bummed?
Bummed about what?
The governor not running?
Yeah, I think I am.
Yeah.
I really hesitate to say it because like I've got accusations of being like in his pocket or being a DFL person. I really want to maintain my independence, and I think that the DFL's got.
Just tell me as you. Stop. Turn off John and tell me as John.
Yeah, I'm bummed. I'm bummed because it means one of only two things. The truth. It means one of only two things, that he's leaving. He's not running for re-election. Thing number one is that he just knows there's more to come. The other shoe's going to drop. There's going to be more reports, and he's privy to stuff that we're not.
I didn't think about that.
That's option one. Or option two is he was talked out of it by everyone in his party, and he didn't want to be another Joe Biden staying on, after the music stopped. And if it's option two, then I'm really bummed. If it's option two, I'm really bummed because if it was option one, he did the right thing for the better of the party because he knew he had to put the state above ego. But if it's option two, then it means that we have an Al Franken situation. right? Like Al Franken had this moments.
Well, no, I don't think you. No,
I think most people have talked. We don't talk about Al Franken that much anymore. Maybe we should, but I think most people talk about it now and say, "Oh, that was maybe a bit much to resign over." Right? The people who resigned over things had, committed offenses. They had sexually assaulted people and all the rest. Whereas his thing was like, if this sounds familiar, a politically right attack, propaganda attack to get him to step down, and it was just the fire was too hot.
I think with Al Franken stuff, it was like things came out at the worst time for him.
Yeah, the middle of Me Too.
Yes,
and so that's what we're in now. That's why I worry that we're in that now. Right now, we are in Nick Shirley videos just come out. Everything's really hot. Joe Biden just happened. Governor Walz was involved in the election that was not successful with Kamala Harris. And so all those things circling together are like a similar tenor. And so if that's the reason, it's, gosh, he's a good politician and he's been able to get a lot of things done for the state. And I think we're worse off for not having him in the top.
What did you think of Hope?
Since we started talking about who won on the podcast,
that's too broad of a question.
Okay.
How did you get Hope here?
I've been emailing her since I think October, maybe November, because I really wanted to have her on the podcast. I just think I said
one of the first. When did we start the podcast?
It was in August or early September. September.
She's probably one of the first people
that we wanted.
That might have been the first person.
She was top of my list. She was the top of my list because I think I wanted her on the podcast more than I wanted her dad, because I think that she's one of the few truly unguarded people in the political realm right now. She's saying what she thinks, and there isn't a lot of consequence because she doesn't have a staff around her or a party telling her. She is the daughter of the governor, but she seems to have an audience of her own separate than Tim Walz. And so for all those reasons, I really wanted to have her on.
Yeah.
But how I got her out here was I said, hey, do you want to be on a podcast? And she's like, I live in Montana. Can we do it virtually? And I was like, no. Because I've turned down,
we can get into it.
Should we talk about who we've turned down?
I was like, who did you turn down virtually?
Peggy Flanagan, Ilhan Omar, both. I said.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They had other ideas. They wanted to have it be other things, and I said, no. The podcast is the podcast. Like the format is the thing. If you want to be on a podcast, be on a podcast.
I was like, and just so you know, I was like, just do it virtual.
Yeah.
And you doubled down. You were like, no, I want to do it in person. And you sent that email, and it was like pretty. It was John sent Hope an email, and it was pretty much like, we're gonna do it he didn't say this explicitly, but I read it as we're gonna do it in person or not do it at all. And I was like, I want to just do it virtually.
Yeah, you said to do it virtually, but also like part of that.
No, you were right.
But I also come on stronger than I realize sometimes, especially in email.
Well, maybe I was reading it because I know you too.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But I mean, what I said to her, I didn't say that you left a key part out of it. I said, I implied we do it in person or we don't do it at all. But if you want to do it in person, I'll fly you out here.
You did. Yes, you said that.
That was kind of a
you
key
said
part.
that, but I was still like, I don't know. That's still like, it's the time involved. Then it's like even more time involved.
Well, yeah, and
it's like a shit ton of time because you gotta fly out here. Granted, her family's here, but
I also thought it almost felt like not imposition. It felt like improper asking a person to come fly out to me. Like it just felt. There was a part of it that felt weird. I've never done that before. People are always just volunteered their time. They've been local, but it was really interesting because I misjudged the power dynamic, and like I have a parasocial relationship with Hope. Like I see her on my feed all the time. So when she responded to the email, I was like, oh my God, it's Hope Walz responding to my email. And then when we started talking about flying her out, she's like, would it be okay if I came out for like a little bit, see my family? I'm like, yeah, come on out. and so it was like a really lovely.
It just happens to be the time when Governor Walz is like, no, I'm no longer running.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. You texted me last night. You saw it on Bloise's email. Well, Bloise had it, and it was all over the media really quickly. He leaked it, not leaked it. He was the scoop that said governor's not going to run again.
Well, I thought this was the beginning of a several week-long process where we find out the truth. It happened pretty quick. So like that was last night, then this morning.
Yeah.
I didn't know we'd have an answer.
Yeah,
today,
so you messaged last night, and I was like, oh no. 'Cause the first thing that came in my mind is like, I spent so much on that plane ticket. She's going to cancel.
Yeah. It was pretty dope that she...
Not only did she not cancel, She texted me at like the announcement, the press conference at 11 a.m. By overnight, it was all over the news that the governor wasn't going to run again. She texts me at like 9 in the morning, says, "Looking forward to today!" Exclamation point. And it was just such a cool move.
Yeah,
she must have
you
known.
didn't even ask. Yeah, you didn't even ask.
I didn't want to ask her. I didn't want to put her in a position of having to say yes or no.
Yeah.
But she just like proactively was like, "Can't wait," and it was just like such a classy move.
I know you want to stop. I want to ask you one question because you just when you reached out to Hope, you told me like originally you were like, "Hope is so cool. I just want her to think that I'm cool."
Yeah.
Do you think that she thinks you're cool after she just left? Do you think that she thinks you're cool?
I don't need her to think I'm cool. I just want her to.
No. Do you think?
I want to have been a good hang. I want to be like, we could meet. He could give me like he could help out with whatever project I'm working on next. That was like the thing. I just wanted to start.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking too long. I wanted her to think I was cool.
Yeah, and
I think she's Gen Z.
I think she thinks you're cool, and I think that because she said, "See you later today" in the text message unprompted.
True.
You didn't even need to do anything today.
It is a weird relationship that you have when you're a content creator and you have all your stuff seen and you're not actually privy to it because you don't have any idea what people's relationship is. And then like I'm speaking to second person, speaking to first person. When I have people come up like, "Oh my God, I love your stuff," I'm oftentimes taken aback, and it's cool, but it
happens a lot. Actually, John would never say this. It happens an insane amount.
Yeah, it does. It like
we should do an hour. We're going over.
This
on
is
time.
great. No, let's keep going. Why not? I mean, let's talk about how cool I am and how people want to see me. Let's not stop here.
John's so famous.
No, it is a weird thing to approach, and we talked about Hope and I. Look, that's my favorite part of the conversation was talking about that thing of not having a relationship with people's relationship with you, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's the thing that you put it out in the world, and then people are going to do what they do with it, and so it often is.
Well, that
surprising.
goes. What's weird about Hope is it goes two ways because you follow her stuff too, right?
And so when she was like, "Yeah, I'll fly out to Minnesota to do the podcast," I was really taken aback. But she talked about how her dad and her have sent videos of mine back and forth. Yeah. And so like, feelings mutual, I guess.
Well, I wonder how often she gets asked to be on podcasts.
I mean, she's in the New York Times recently.
I'm sure it happens, but it probably doesn't happen like crazy often.
She looks like her mom as well. That was something I got a lot of. Because I saw her mom at the press conference this morning. I went to the press conference with the governor, and so it was. Anyway, I was really happy with it. I thought she was great. That's.
Yeah, it was awesome. Where is this going at the end of the episode?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so they've already seen it. Did you think it was good?
Did you?
Leave a comment.
Like and subscribe.
Engagement bait.
Actually, seriously, please like and subscribe. We need engagement. Please. If you're watching this, I should also just come back and tell you that this is the behind the scenes part that we actually don't typically publish for the main feed. This goes into the supporter feed. And to be a supporter, you can go to oneminutetours.com. The reason that we have that is that like we are people trying to make a living over here, and this stuff is equipment, this microphone, that camera, this office. I actually have a social media coordinator who helps me get stuff posted all the time. It's a whole team that makes it happen. So if you want to see more of this, you want it to continue, just go to oneminutetours.com and become a supporter. You'll get stuff like this and also my undying gratitude.
Wow.
I went like right into like mode there, didn't I? Yikes, okay. Let's stop.
Join the Patreon. Take it easy, dude.
Just like with Hope, I'm coming on too strong. I just need to chill out.
All right.
That's good. All right, let's go.